Hello and welcome to Compliance Briefs on what to expect from an AML CFT and Sanctions Supervision visit. This video will cover the elements of the legal framework and where the supervision obligation arises from. We will break down the different types of monitoring visits, explain the supervisory cycle, and provide a step-by-step overview of the entire monitoring visit process, from start to finish. This includes the firm selection process, how visits are scheduled, and a detailed analysis of the visit scope, highlighting what firms are expected to do both before, during, and after the on-site visit. Finally, we will discuss the outcomes of the supervisory activities. ICPAC, as a competent authority, is responsible for supervising all obliged entities under its supervision. This includes all firms licensed by ICPAC providing accounting, audit, and administrative services. More specifically, this obligation arises from the Prevention and Suppression of Money Laundering Law, also known as the AML CFT law, and the implementation of provisions of resolutions or decisions of the United Nations Security Council, sanctions, and the decisions and regulations of the Council of the European Union law, restrictive measures, also known as the sanctions law. Additionally, the Institute's supervisory activities are governed by Regulation 4.602, as outlined in the ICPAC Members' Handbook. In general, supervision can take various forms and shapes. The only definite is that for an AML CFT and sanctions supervision function to be effective, it should be holistic and dynamic. Therefore, the Institute's AML CFT supervision consists of both off-site and on-site processes. The off-site monitoring function of ICPAC consists primarily of the AML CFT questionnaire, which is run on an annual basis. The completion of the questionnaire applies to all ICPAC licensed firms. It is in electronic format and can be accessed through the Institute's portal, and it is used to collect information used to risk assess firms. The questionnaire covers areas that indicate the firm's inherent risks, i.e. services, products, clients, geographics, delivery channels. It also serves to gather information regarding the risk management, mitigating procedures, and other measures adopted by the firms, such as governance-related information, AML CFT policies and procedures, compliance department information, training, reporting, systems and controls, etc. Periodically, and according to various needs and trends, thematic ad hoc reporting is used to collect information on specific AML, CFT, and sanctions areas, emerging risks, and information required for sectoral risk assessments. The on-site monitoring visit function of ICPAC consists of the full scope reviews, thematic reviews, and targeted reviews, although periodically other types of on-site reviews may be added according to supervisory needs. In some cases, any type of review may take place remotely. The full scope review is a function outsourced to the ACCA and is a comprehensive review of the AML CFT and sanctions compliance program of each firm. ICPAC performs a risk-based assessment for each firm on an annual basis, through the analysis of information collected via the AML CFT questionnaire and other sources, and categorizes firms according to their risk level. Each category is attached to an ongoing monitoring cycle, and as such, depending on the risk category, a firm might be visited annually if considered very high risk, or within 6 years if it's classified as low risk. The time duration of a monitoring visit and the size of the monitoring team that will perform the visit depends on the size of the firm, i.e. number of clients and staff, type of services provided, and it can also be affected by the number of locations of the firms, etc. Thematic reviews focus on specific areas or topics. The selection of the areas and topics may arise either from common weaknesses identified during the monitoring visits of various firms, from new emerging risk identified by ICPAC, or when ICPAC wants to assess the level of compliance for specific services which carry a higher element of risk. Targeted reviews concern specific firms, and they are triggered usually by external factors such as media publications, intelligence provided by other departments within ICPAC, other supervisory authorities, both national and international, or intelligence forwarded by law enforcement authorities or FIUs, both national and international. Firm selection for full scope visits is made based on the risk category and the corresponding supervisory cycle. For thematic and targeted visits, selection of firms is performed based on information received for each firm or client, information collected by firms and submitted to ICPAC. Once a firm is identified as being due for a monitoring visit, a notification letter is sent out to the firm by ICPAC. For full scope visits, the letter will be accompanied by a pre-visit questionnaire and a client list template. Both documents can be located in the Monitoring and Compliance tab on the Institute's website, under section Compliance Templates. Thereafter, one of the ACCA senior practice reviewers will contact the firm to book the visit. For other types of visits, communication is made with the firm directly by one of the monitoring officers of ICPAC, and information requested will depend on the type of visit and information at hand. The scope of the AML CFT and sanctions monitoring visit is to ensure the firm's compliance with a number of laws and regulations of which firms are obligated to comply with, namely the Prevention and Suppression of Money Laundering Law, also known as the AML CFT law, the law regulating companies providing administrative services and related matters, also known as the ASP law, the implementation of provisions of resolutions or decisions of the United Nations Security Council, sanctions, and the decisions and regulations of the Council of the European Union, also known as the sanctions law, and certain ICPAC regulations, directives, and certain provisions of the Code of Ethics. During the full scope on-site visit, the reviewers will verify the valid appointment of a certified compliance officer and the appointment of the member of the board of directors in accordance with Article 58D of the AML CFT law. They will also examine the firm's manuals to understand its policies and procedures, ensuring they are properly and appropriately implemented. This includes reviewing policies on client identification, due diligence, suspicious activity and sanctions reporting, record keeping, and transaction monitoring. Additionally, the reviewers will assess the firm's firm-wide risk assessment and client risk assessment methodology. Lastly, they will evaluate the firm's training program and review staff training records. The on-site visit is broken down into 4 phases. Firstly, an opening meeting will be held with the management of the firm and the compliance officer to go through the specificities of the firm, for example, services provided, size and type of clients, risk appetite, governance, onboarding procedures, etc. The second stage is the file reviews, at which point the reviewer will confirm whether proper and appropriate policies have been applied, through requesting documents and explanations of work performed. The number of files selected depends on the size of the firm's clientele and the services provided by the firm. At the end of the on-site visit, a closing meeting will be held with the management and the compliance officer, whereby the reviews will present the findings of the visit. The final stage is the generation of the findings report, which is sent to the firm 6 weeks after the end of the on-site visit, along with an action plan template, which firms need to complete and submit to the reviewer within 21 days. The report, along with the action plan, is submitted to ICPAC for further actions where needed. Following the finalization of the monitoring visit, the accounting department of ICPAC will issue an invoice to the firm for the monitoring fee in accordance with Regulation 4.602 Paragraph 8(1). Aside from being a legal obligation for ICPAC, its supervisory activities are crucial and highly beneficial. These activities allow ICPAC to assess the risk levels of individual firms and the sector as a whole. They enable the sharing of information with other AML CFT supervisors in accordance with legislative requirements. Additionally, the supervision process helps identify areas of weakness, guiding the development of the Institute's training programs. It also serves as a tool for collecting data and statistics essential for the national risk assessment and other country assessments. Finally, when significant or repeated non-compliance is detected, firms are referred to the disciplinary committee and/or administrative sanctions committee for appropriate action. I hope you found this useful. For any queries, you may contact us via email at compliance@icpac.org.cy. Thank you and goodbye.